Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, our goal is to drive motivation by closing the door on the comfort zone, by fostering inspiration to show you what's possible, and to create transformation by challenging those unproductive negative mindsets. And don't forget, while you're here, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. All right, leaders, today is all about you. We know that leadership is a tough calling, but it is a calling that we can all aspire to. Leadership is a skill that can be learned. It's important to know all about your people, know about the mission, the purpose, and the passion that it takes to be it. But what about knowing about yourself? What's this self-awareness thing have to do with leadership? Today, I want to introduce you to somebody who's going to talk about leadership, self-awareness, and why it matters. Everybody, please say hello to Dan Dominguez. Hey, Dan, how are you?
I am so great. I'm so excited to be here with you, Ricky. And I just love that introduction. I love what your show's about. And I'm so glad you and I met.
Yay, me too. Thanks everybody for watching. No, I'm kidding. Dan, I am too. I'm so excited to have you here because this topic is a topic that people hear a lot about. We talk about leadership everywhere on commercials, in magazine, on TikTok, on Instagram, everywhere you look, we are talking about leadership. But before we jump into that, Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself and where it is you're located.
Sure. Well, I'm Dan Dominguez. I'm the CEO and founder of Why Not Leadership and the Lead Different podcast, which I want to have you on as soon as possible, Ricky. I'm a leadership consultant and I'm a coach, an executive coach. I work with leaders who want to be better through the power of self-awareness. So what you said earlier, it is so important. So many of us go through life thinking we know ourselves, but it's not till somebody shines a light on. And I don't know if you've ever been part of an executive team at a Fortune 100, but I was. And I remember they did this thing called 360 feedback, where you get feedback from people right below you, and then the
Mhm.
people below them, and then the people below them. And you
Yeah.
find that the further away you are from people, the more misconceptions that there can be. And as our nature, we tend to concentrate on the negative. You can have 90% of the people tell you you're great, but that
Hmm.
10% that tell you the things you're not doing well. So that led me on a path. And I've always said, you know what, understanding ourselves is the first key. We want to understand
Wow.
our people, we want to understand our clients, but
Hmm.
understanding ourselves is so important because it informs everything that we do. So I'm in
Yeah.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh,
I was raised here. This is where my family is. I've been in the military. I spent 11 years in the military, traveled
wow.
all over the US. I was a traveling pharmaceutical salesman, so I worked in the Midwest. And then
Hmm.
when I became a medical device sales rep and manager and leader of sales teams, I lived in
Right.
Kentucky. I lived in Denver. So I've lived in a lot of different places, but
Wow.
Albuquerque, New Mexico is home. And this is where I've decided to put Why Not Leadership's headquarters.
I love it so much. So, all of that to say, you're not on the witness protection program. You chose to live in all those places, right?
Absolutely. I'm not running away from anything just yet.
Good. Okay. Just yet. That's the part I like the most. So, self-awareness. Dan, talk about what is self-aware? A lot of people think we know what it is, right? I just need to
Yeah.
know me. Yay. But what does that have to do with anything else?
Well, and I think that's a great question, Ricky, because here's the thing. A lot of us think we know
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of biases that are involved in that, right? Number one, most of us grow up with a mom and dad who tell us we're perfect and great, and there's nothing that our little baby can do wrong. And so
Right.
we might have an inflated ego, or you might even have the opposite, right? If you grow
Mm-hmm.
up in the opposite situation where your dad or mom tell you you're terrible and you're horrible, and so you grow up with a negative attitude towards yourself. Either
Yeah.
way, is not healthy because it's
Mm-hmm.
not a real reflection of who you are. The best way to know yourself is to really dig in. And
Mm-hmm.
what I say is work with a coach, and you have a coach,
Yeah.
I have a coach who understands there's so many assessments out there, right?
Yeah.
You can take Strengths Finders, Colby, DISC. There's my personal favorite, which is the YOS, which I use with every client.
Mm-hmm.
And those are so good because they're not subjective, they're objective. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
like 360 feedback where people are telling
Right.
you what they think about you. This is you evaluating yourself and answering
Wow.
honestly. The important part is to answer those assessment, whatever assessment you use, honestly, and
Yeah.
then work with somebody who's an expert in that assessment to help you understand the results.
That's
So
so
what I
good.
hear often from
Mm-hmm.
leaders is uh, Dan, I kind of already knew some of these things about myself, but
Mm-hmm.
working with you, what I know now is how to express it,
That's so
right?
good. Yeah.
We all have tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
I like to tell people if you work with me, you're going to know why you do what you do. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
the why, it's not our big why, like what's your purpose in life?
Sure.
Have you ever noticed that there are things, if you're in the audience and you're listening, there are things we do that become a pattern in our life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
There are things that you ask yourself, I just did it again. Right? Have you ever said
Yeah.
that to
Oh, of
yourself?
course.
I
Yeah. Why
know.
did I do it
I don't know
again?
why. Why did I do that again? I did that with the previous client. I just did it again. You
Mm-hmm.
blow a sale, and you know exactly how you did it, right? You blow an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity with a client. You're like, I did that again. Or
Yeah.
you get a great, and then there's things you do great, and you want to know, hey, well, how can I be in that zone more? Well, that's what
Sure.
self-awareness is about. So,
Yeah.
what are our strengths? Because our
Mm-hmm.
strengths are often our challenges too, right?
Mm-hmm. They
If you
can
have a
be.
strength of connecting with people, that's great. But guess what? It's also a challenge because you connect with so many people, you spread yourself thin. So
Yeah.
every strength comes with a challenge. And
Mm-hmm.
so understanding, hey, that strength comes with the challenge, figuring out
Mm-hmm.
what the strength is. How do we take advantage of the strength and how do we minimize the challenge that comes
Yeah.
with it? We
Mm-hmm.
have to do that with all parts of our personality, our
That's so good.
motivations, and our beliefs.
Yeah. So Dan, let me ask you this. So being self-aware, knowing about my emotions, knowing about my whys, what fors, hithertos, and yawns, what does that have to do with my leadership style? What difference does it make?
Well, it makes a big difference because they become our filters, right? And so I'll use myself as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll use the YOS, which is the assessment that I use with every client that I work with.
Mm-hmm.
My why is to contribute to the
Mm-hmm.
success of others. I'm
Mm-hmm.
driven by making a difference. So in
Right.
everything that I do, I want to help people. I want to make a
Mm-hmm.
difference. I want to be part of a bigger cause. So that's my driving factor. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. Every morning I
Right.
want to wake up and make a difference, right?
Okay.
Well, that's a good thing, except
Mm-hmm.
for the fact that one of the things that we do when we're contributors is we tend to say yes to everyone, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
know that we have to run a business, right?
Sure.
So
Mm-hmm.
guess what Dan does when a client says, "Oh, Dan, that's really good, but I don't know if I could afford that," right?
Mm-hmm.
My contributor wants to say, "Okay, what can you afford? And how
Yeah.
can I help you? What can I lower my price?" And
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way, but we have to run a business too.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand that there's a place where you can maybe discount, but if you don't have enough of your full price clients, you're not going to be in business for a long time. I always
Yeah.
tell my wife, I didn't start out to be a nonprofit, babe, but that's how we're
That's so
if we
true.
don't charge what we're worth, then we become a nonprofit really
Yeah.
quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
as a contributor, I have to be careful to make sure I don't say yes to too many opportunities where I'm
Mm-hmm.
helping. And I do a lot for our community. I like to
Yeah.
donate my time. I like to donate to charity. And I like to help organizations that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford my services. So I
Right.
do that selectively.
That's important.
You can't do it for everyone because
Mm-hmm.
again, you become a nonprofit unless you've got funding coming from somewhere. And I haven't talked to my dad recently, but he doesn't
Right.
have $10 million put away for me
Dang it,
so
that
that
you
I could
know
just
of.
do whatever I want. Right. So so that, it's understanding that our strengths. So that
Mm-hmm.
self-awareness is so important.
Right.
Um, you know, I, I also know that I have a how of challenging the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? That means that how I contribute,
Mm-hmm.
if Ricky, if you asked me to be on the board of your organization, I
Mm-hmm.
would say, hey, here, how I'm going to contribute, Ricky, is by
Mm-hmm.
challenging the status quo. I'm going to
Right.
come in with different ideas. I'm going to look at what you're doing. I'm going to say, how can we do it different? How can we do it better?
Right.
How can we break this and make
Mm-hmm.
it come out even better? So the way I help, the way I
Mm-hmm.
contribute is by doing things different and outside the box.
That's so
So
good.
are you comfortable with that? And if you're
Mm-hmm.
not, that's okay. Let me know and we won't work together. But if
Sure.
you're looking for somebody to shake you up a little bit, maybe give you some ideas that you maybe hadn't thought of, I'm your guy. So I'm here to help you. But how
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do that is by
Is like
doing things
this.
out of the box and different.
Yeah.
And then my deliverable, what people can count on from me is,
Mm-hmm.
don't worry, I'll help you make sense of it. That's another one
Mm-hmm.
of the 9 whys. At the end of the day, I love solving problems. So
Okay.
Ricky, if you say, Dan, I need you on my board because I need somebody that's committed to helping us be better. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
I need somebody that's going to give us some fresh ideas because we've been doing the same thing for the last 10 years and we've got
Right.
to do
And
something
can't wonder
different.
why it's not working. Right.
Right. You keep, yeah, the definition of insanity, right? So don't worry, I'll bring you some fresh ideas, but don't worry, I'm going to bring some crazy and out of the box ideas, but I'll help you make sense of
Yeah.
them so that we
Which
can
is so
implement
good.
them. And so when you know that, so knowing that about myself, I know who my ideal client is. My
Okay.
ideal client is looking for somebody to help them. They're
Mm-hmm.
looking for fresh ideas and they're looking for somebody that's going to make sense of their problem, solve their problem.
Yeah.
So
That's so good.
that's my 30
Yeah.
second or maybe
Okay.
a 1 minute spiel.
So let me ask you this, Dan, because now, you look at leadership, everybody's big on leadership right now.
Yeah.
Leadership has changed over the years.
Yes.
We used to have the leaders that said, the autocratic, I am the leader, just do what I tell you because I told you to. And people would
Right.
come in, they would do their work and they would go home and all was well. So now we have this shift in leadership where the leaders now are looking more into this self-awareness thing. How
Yeah.
can these leaders, the old guard, still lead in today's new changing leadership arena?
Well, I'll tell you, old guard, you're going to have to change, right? And look,
Wow.
the only constant in anything we do is change. You're a veteran, I'm a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
We know about autocratic leadership. And
Sure.
there comes a time,
There's a
right, when
place
you
for it.
better
Yeah.
yeah, there's a place for, hey, you know what? There's bombs coming in. You get in that bomb
Do what
shelter.
I tell you.
Where yeah, do what I
Yeah.
tell you and
Mm-hmm.
you can ask questions later.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found in even in my military career,
Mm-hmm.
the best results come when you actually involve your team in the decision-making
Sure.
process. People support what they help build.
Yeah, I love
And
that people support what they help build. But let me stop you real quick, Dan.
yes,
So people support what they have helped build. But if I am one of the old guard leaderships,
yes,
the company has my name on it.
yes.
You work for me. What difference does it make whether I know myself or not? Just
Oh,
keep
great
going.
question. Yeah, let's go with that. So you're old guard, you work for me. Guess what? What point at what does it benefit you to hire immensely
Mhm.
talented people and not take advantage of their talents?
So good. That was where I was trying to go to. Yeah.
Yeah. You know the young guard, right? The
Mhm.
millennials, the Gen Zers that are out there, they're brilliant. They have
Yeah.
great ideas, but they're wired differently than our generation.
So true.
They care, they want to make a difference. They want their
Hmm.
work to have an impact. And I think about it and I thought about it, you're 25 years old. Of course, you're in an entry level position, so
Yeah.
you're probably not making a big difference for the company. But guess what? They want to know that their work matters, and
Hmm.
they value their family, and they
Hmm.
value their family time. So we have to
Yeah.
understand that all of that is important. Now, some of us came to those realizations in our later age, right?
Hmm.
So we might have said something. I just wrote a piece that I'm getting ready for social media for Father's Day. I
Hmm.
remember being in the military. And I remember going to the colonels and the generals' retirement parties, and the
Hmm.
family would be standing there very proud. And 9 times out of 10, the colonel or the general would be recognizing their family and they would say,
Right.
thank you for putting up with all the birthdays I missed, all the
Hmm.
recitals I didn't go to, all the football games you didn't
Sure.
see me at. And I remember saying to myself, I don't like that story. I
Hmm.
don't want to be a general if that's what it's going to cost. And so
Wow.
I made a decision, a conscious decision that
Hmm.
I had a little daughter at the time, and I said, I want to be there for her.
Yeah.
And so we made that decision. Now I came to that decision at an older age,
Hmm.
and I did the same thing in my corporate career. I'm
Sure.
blessed with two daughters that are 22 years apart. So when my
Hmm.
youngest finished
Wow.
undergrad, we had our second daughter.
Okay.
And so now I'm out of the military. I've been in corporate for a while. I'm
Hmm.
getting promoted. I'm a national sales director at a Fortune 100 company,
Hmm.
doing really well, but I'm not home.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not home.
Been there,
When
done
you're the
that.
national sales director for a major medical device company, guess what? When
Yeah,
Stanford wants to close a deal, they want to talk to the national sales director. So
exactly.
you fly your butt out to California, and then the
Exactly.
next week Duke University wants to talk to you, and that's all the way in North Carolina. And then you got to go to Northwestern in
Should have
Chicago. That
stayed in
was
the
my life.
military, Dan.
Yeah, you might as well stayed in the military. So this was my
Right.
second daughter. We put our oldest daughter was in
Hmm.
college, but I
Hmm.
fell into the same trap, in
Yeah.
that achievement trap, right? And so I knew, I looked up. And so this is what I talked about. I looked up at the people above me, and they were all in their second and third marriages,
Wow.
bad
So
bad
sad.
relationships with their kids,
Hmm.
right? Oh, my
Yeah.
kids hate me.
Yeah.
And so I said to myself again, okay, what good does all that money do if you're
Hmm.
having to split it with two ex-wives
Woo.
and you got child
Wow.
support for five kids, right? How much money are you
I
really
saw that
making?
movie. Hold on. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
exactly.
movie. It's a sad movie, right? It's
It
not a happy
is.
movie. So
Yeah.
I said to myself once again, I think we need to make a different decision. And
Hmm.
I have great relationships with both of my daughters. I coached both daughters in track and cross country. I
Awesome.
was there for the moments that mattered. And I
Hmm.
think we need to redefine
Hmm.
winning, because
Yeah.
everybody will tell you there's nothing like the regret to be at the end of your life and regret, ooh, could I have been
Could not have been there.
CEO,
Yeah.
or could I have been a professional boxer? That was my
Hmm.
sport when I was a kid.
Hmm.
But I think we need to redefine it, because what
Yeah.
if you get to the end of your life, and you have to ask yourself, could I have been a better father?
Yeah.
Could I have been a
Because
better
everybody's going to
husband?
get to that end of life moment. We're all going to have
Yes.
that end of life conversation. So let me switch gears a little bit here with you, Dan. So now you're doing coaching, you're executive coaching, you're doing all this stuff. You talked a little bit about who your clients are.
Yes.
So, first of all, tell me the name of your coaching program.
Yes. So our program is called Why Not Leadership. So I work with leaders who are ready to say why not, to trying something different. Again, going into
Okay.
my personality. If
Mm-hmm.
you are somebody who is looking to look at yourself in a
Right.
different way, dig
Mm-hmm.
deep and understand yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
see how that self-awareness can help you run your company better, run your teams
Okay.
better. So my program it's a 1 year program that I work with everybody. We start
Okay.
with self-awareness. I'm
Mm-hmm.
certified by Marshall Goldsmith's leadership development program. So we
Mm-hmm.
work on behaviors that are going to make you a better leader. And we focus on
Okay.
one or two simple behaviors that are going to make you better. And we
Mm-hmm.
spend some time with that. And then we also do assessments for the team. So
Yeah.
I don't just work with the CEO. I work
Okay.
with their executive team. I work
Mm-hmm.
with who they are working with on a daily basis, because what I have found is
Mm-hmm.
if I work with Ricky and make her an all-star, and
Right.
everybody on her team is still, the JV team, Ricky's going to have a
Yeah.
hard time pulling them
Gonna
up.
be a tough schedule. Okay.
So I work with the whole team.
So that's a good thing to know. So now, why? Why did you get into this? You were doing well here. The girls were doing all the fun stuff. You did your military thing. What made you decide, okay, this needs to be different, not just for me, but
Yeah.
for other people? How did that whole transition take place?
You know, here's what, and you talked about it, Ricky.
Mm,
Leadership is not easy. It is, some of us are blessed with natural leadership ability. I feel like I was blessed with that in middle
mm,
school. I used to get in a lot of trouble. I was a little troublemaker, and kids would
mm.
do what I would say, let's go do it.
Because they were
And so I
afraid of you,
found,
Dan. That's easy.
well, you know what? I was whole 5'4", 100 pounds. No, but I think what it was is
Mm,
I had leadership ability,
mm.
and I remember getting into trouble, and my middle school principal, Yvonne Kaufman, who I still keep in touch with,
Wow.
pulled in sixth grade. She pulled me in and she said, Dan, I could suspend you because that's what I'm supposed to do, because you're not
Mm,
supposed to do what you did,
mm,
but you're a leader. And
mm,
here's what we have going on. The student council is going to some leadership training next week,
mm.
and I think it would be good for you to attend. Now, you can choose to go to with the student council to this leadership training, or you can choose to go
Mm.
home for 3 days and pull weeds, which is what my dad
Right.
would make me do. And I said, you know what? I think I'll take that first option. It's
Yeah,
it's 100
definitely.
degrees in Albuquerque in
Exactly.
May, and I don't want to do that. And it changed my life. I was
Yeah.
exposed to leadership. training at a very young age, and I learned
Mm-hmm.
the incredible power of leadership. So
Mm-hmm.
that came naturally to me. So I was in student council, I was team captain for,
Mm-hmm.
I was on my boxing team. I qualified for nationals, did all
Sure.
kinds of stuff. Went in the military. I was a young junior officer, and so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of opportunities to learn how to
Mm-hmm.
lead effectively. You learn a
Okay.
lot about conflict management in student council because you got
Yeah, you
things to get
do.
done, and you're not paying anybody. So you've
At
got to
all.
get people motivated to
Yeah.
want to be a part of the cause. So
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed with a lot of opportunities on how to lead. When I
Mm-hmm.
went into my civilian career as a
Mm-hmm.
sales representative, people noticed that I had a leadership ability,
Okay.
and they promoted me into leadership positions. So
Nice.
when I got promoted into leadership positions, I just said, okay, what have I done before that works,
Mm-hmm.
right? I had
Mm-hmm.
leadership experience, but that's not what happens normally, right, Ricky?
Yeah.
We promote people based on competence, not on leadership.
Oh, that is so true and so good. But wait, before you keep going, I want to touch on something that you said. You were exposed to leadership early. How
Yes.
important do you believe it is to start teaching leadership skills younger than when you get your first job?
Oh, I think leadership skills. I mean, my daughter is in a program with the Federation of North American Explorers, and they get put in
Hmm.
charge. And then
Hmm.
there's nothing. I mean, I don't know about you, Ricky, when you were in the military, but I remember arriving at my first duty post, and I'm a young second lieutenant, fresh out of Ranger School,
Hmm.
and the colonel looks at me and he says, "Well, welcome to the unit, Lieutenant. You've got the firing range on Thursday. This is a Monday." Right?
Right.
You're in
Wow.
charge of the firing range on Thursday. And I said, sir, I've never run a firing range. And he says, well, you're a ranger. You'll figure it out.
Wow.
People expect things from you, right?
Hmm.
And you showed up, you got the uniform on, you can do the job.
You
I
must be
expect
able
you
to
to
do
just go
this.
do the job.
Yeah.
You must be able
Hmm.
to do the job. I was so glad that I had a great platoon sergeant. He said, "Don't worry, sir. I'll take
We
care of
got you
everything.
covered, yeah, because you're not
You
going to
just
kill
show
us
up.
out here.
Yeah. You just
Yeah.
show up and you get on the microphone and these are the things you've got to
This is what you
say
say.
at the
Here's your
range, right? At the
script.
live fire range."
Oh, yeah,
But
I remember those days well.
I love that. I love, and of course I had to do something fun. I would play fly to the when we did the night fire.
Oh my
I would play
gosh.
Fly to the
Fly to
Valkyries,
the
dun dun dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun over
dun,
the
dun, dun.
loudspeakers, and
Yeah,
oh, we
yeah,
would just have so much
hilarious.
fun with that.
That's so
But
funny.
but I had been exposed to that. Now, do
Hmm.
you take that? So as a young leader, I had been exposed to the fact that, hey, guess what? If you're the leader, you're in charge, you've got to get things done. So when we promote people based on competence instead of
Hmm.
leadership, this is
Hmm.
what we do. We say, Ricky, you're such a great accountant. We're going to make you the
Yeah.
manager for the accounting team.
What
And you
could
know what,
possibly go
Ricky?
wrong?
What
Yeah.
could possibly go wrong? Well, Ricky's a great accountant. Let's let
Hmm.
her be a great accountant.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to lead. There's probably an accountant in there that loves to lead and has that
Yeah.
leadership ability. Let's find that person. But we don't
Yeah.
look for leadership qualities. We look for competence because if they're a
That's
good
true.
accountant, there must be a good leader. And we
Yeah.
do that with sales. We do that with engineering. We do that in every facet. So where the CEOs I like to work with is
Hmm.
the unintentional leaders, Ricky.
Yeah.
I got a couple of clients right now. One of them runs a moving company. He's a
Hmm.
CEO, founder of a moving company.
Hmm.
Well, he started his business with a beat up old Mazda truck and a U-Haul
Wow.
tied to the back, and he would
Hmm.
go and help people move. Well, now he's
Yeah.
got 30 employees. He's got multiple trucks. He's got millions of dollars in revenue. He's got
Hmm.
scheduling. And guess what he has to do? He has to
Yeah.
lead.
Yeah.
And
And
did he ever get
delegate
any
and
leadership training?
automate.
No.
Probably not. Yeah.
Right. And so he's looking at, okay, how do I deal with personalities? How do I deal
Hmm.
with motivation? How do I deal with people that don't show up? I have an HR team. I have an operations manager. He's got all these positions and he's never really had a chance to stop and look at
Yeah.
himself and say, okay, how is what I'm doing impacting the people that work for me?
My gosh, if more leaders would answer that question or even ask it of themselves, we would probably have a lot less drama going on in some places. Now, Dan, there's so much here. It's like drinking from a fire hose. You've got so much information and knowledge and wisdom to share. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, to work with you, or just to finish this conversation, where's the best place for them to find you?
The best place to find me is at whynotleadership.com. If you go to my website, it'll have an opportunity for you to learn about some of the programs that we run. We run team optimization workshops. We work with executives and we work with individuals who just want to be better leaders or become more self-aware. So go to whynotleadership.com. If you're looking for someone to come talk to your team and just give you a keynote that inspires them to look at themselves a little
Mhm.
deeper, that's something else that we do at Why Not Leadership also.
All right. Y'all, don't worry. If you did not get his contact information, everything is going to be in the description below. But don't forget, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. Dan, my friend, before I let you go, we got to play a game. Woo,
All
woo,
right.
woo, woo. This game is called This or That. I'm going to give you the choice of a couple of things, and you're just going to tell me which one you like the best. Are you ready
All
to
right.
play, sir?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Yellow light, slow down or speed up?
Speed up.
It's the honesty for me. I love it. Peanut butter, smooth or crunchy?
Crunchy for sure.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Wow. Prince or Michael Jackson?
Oh man, you got to go with the king of pop, Michael Jackson always. I love
Okay.
Prince. I love me Prince, but no, you got to go with Michael.
Gotta go with Michael Jackson. All right. I'm sorry, moonlight or candlelight?
Oh, I like Moonlight. I'm a nature
Ah.
guy.
Oh, so you're one of those tent people.
Oh yes, I just came back from camping. Yeah, my daughter and
Absolutely
I
not.
spent 3 days in the mountains at 10,000 feet.
Did you lose a bet? Is that why you were there? Because, see,
Mm.
after I got out of the military, camping is not one of the things I will ever do again. Okay, glamping. Yeah,
Yes,
because for me, my idea of roughing it is no room service. I'm just putting that out there. All right, make the call or send a text.
I'll make the call. I pick up the phone every day.
I like it. Read the book or see the movie.
Read the book. Read the book, then see the movie.
I, I'm the same way. I love
Yeah.
that. What is the first thing you notice about somebody? Their smile or their eyes?
I notice a smile. I love smiles. I love Ricky's smile. Look at that smile. If somebody has a friendly smile, it just makes all the difference. You can change a person's life just by smiling at them.
That's so true. That's so true. And finally, sir, what is your favorite Olympic sport?
Oh, boxing.
Oh, that's
I
right.
was a
You
boxer.
said,
I spent 7 years as a boxer. I
yeah.
made it to nationals and I got to fight with some really elite fighters. The gentleman who beat me in nationals in the
Mhm.
semifinals. So I was third at nationals.
Okay.
Went on to the Olympic trials. Danny Besser from Spokane. Danny, if you're watching, I remember you. You don't remember the name of anybody you beat, but you remember everybody who beat you. Danny Besser was an
That's
incredibly
so
talented
funny.
fighter in the 119-pound weight division back in the
Wow.
19 but yeah,
Yes, I'm
great.
sorry.
Yeah, I love Olympic. It's the sweet science. I love watching those fighters just
All right.
apply their skills.
Wow, that is amazing. Dan, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on, Ricky. This has been so fun. It went by so fast, and I love the work that you're doing. I'm happy to support you, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
I thank you. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. But don't worry, we'll be back next week with more Faith on Friday presents.